back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with this week. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Well, I hope so, because Steven's Sausage Roll is here, and Leon releases a killer gaming desk. Because seriously, it's made of glass.
Gearbox plans to release Borderlands 3, eventually, and Unity has a new input system, and a not invented here syndrome.
Gary Newman, that progressive liberal. Rust now assigns random genders based on your account name. And Ludum Dare dared people to shed their skin and shapeshift into some manner of game.
I'm Vin Stone, here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing this nightmare fuel all under the Linux, joined every week by our tame Canadian podcaster from Canada with a knifey hair. He's brilliant.
Yeah, like I said, I'll stab myself
yourself
in the head and you'll like...
Do it.
No, the way from Space Portugal. I'm Pedro Matea, staying up late to make this party rock on.
Trying anyway.
Way past his bedtime. He's going to be a cranky baby tomorrow.
And together with Shat Realm Dynamic joining us live, we formed that special little bit known as Cocaine Voltron. Before we get going, we like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Gentlemen, lads, something made me just a bit stabby, and that was this. There was a little thing from our fine friends at Rocket League, and they're like, The Witcher antenna, available next week. And CD Projekt Red, the maker of Witcher. Let me just say there's reasons that I was hashtag triggered after seeing this. What's up, J-Baby?
Oh yeah, I still have my copy of The Witcher 3 that I'm waiting on that Linux version of. That's totally coming, you guys. Seriously. No, I found out that if I just stare at sausages enough, I become proficient at rolling them. But beyond that, it's just been training people at work, so get home, crash. I'm almost done Atlantis, though. I got 10 more episodes. And then I can go watch something else.
Sorry, Gates. Well, on my end, Martin Wimpress actually asked me if I wanted to take part in a little project of his, which may or may not involve discrediting Phronix altogether. But
you just have to go to his closet in his bedroom.
More on those news when I actually do the thing that he asked me to do. So yeah.
Well, there's that one thing we do every week, J-Man.
Yeah, because it looks like the horse. He's a bit into fish sticks this week. It's our Steam Linux
update
of the week. Now, all you cryptocurrency fanboys, go nuts, because Steam is going to start accepting payments in Bitcoin. Where Coinye, he screams impotently to the heavens. When someday soon, it'll be accepted as a legitimate currency. But I mean, pretty much what we expected before when we talked about this, when we first heard the rumblings. They're still going to have the regional pricing. You can just pay the equivalent Bitcoin cost. But Ven, you have some concerns about this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the first thing that came to my brain organ was how are you going to deal with the fluctuation in prices with the Bitcoins? And if you're going to wrap your mind around that topic, then you got to start thinking about refunds and people gaming the system. But I mean, they did say, Jordan, that they're going to be working with a third party, right?
Right, and it makes sense, because if they want to set up their own Bitcoin infrastructure, they're going to have to spend millions on like new clean servers and securing everything and whatnot. And I mean, the whole currency thing with Bitcoin being ever fluctuating in value, because it's not actually tied to anything. It's worth what people value their anonymous transactions at.
Kind of like regular currency?
Oh, it's Reddit gold.
Even more fluctuation.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think the end result, because you could totally buy a game, return it, and end up with more money. Well, if you're smart about it. But I mean, it makes sense from Valve's perspective. They're a company who loves taking your money, and they want to open up as many avenues to take your money, unless you live in Australia.
Yeah, unless you live in Australia, because someone on that Twitter thread that you showed earlier actually brought up the fact that Bitcoin is to be supported before the Aussie dollar. Yeah, that keeps Aussies paying a premium.
I don't know, man.
Fuck Australia.
You get your dollar dues. I mean, how did that board meeting go at Valve? Where they're like, So, Australia, bitcoins, we don't have a regional currency. And they're like, hey, they haven't apologized for Hitler, so no. No, seriously, what were they thinking? It's like, they're used to being screwed over for no apparent reason, right?
Yeah.
And it's more money coming into Valve's pocket.
It's still cheaper to fly to America, get a copy of Photoshop, and fly back. Just to buy one in Australia. But the plot thickens with this whole Necro mess.
Oh, man, doesn't it? A game close to our hearts that we've been playing for quite some time. Necro early access game is, ironically, The Dead. I mean, if you're a fan of the action game Necro, you may be disappointed to learn that, wow,
Drama.
Things imploded
Drama
this
everywhere.
week, didn't they?
Drama bomb.
I guess, we don't have to go into too much of this because we don't want to contribute to the drama.
It's all in the show notes.
Yeah, I mean, read through the notes. Basically, correct me if I'm right on this, but if you don't know about Necro, it was a brilliant looking, what would you call it? Action?
Single player MOBA. That's
which was supposed to originally be multiplayer, then they removed that functionality. That's a story for a different time, ladies and gentlemen. But it looked good. It looked fantastic for an early access title, but it's been in early access for 4 years. And right around Christmas last year, what we learned initially was the developer, the programmer on the game, said, hey, I'm having family issues, and it kind of set me off, and I was like, it didn't set off my BSOtron 9000, but it got a little vibration on the needle. That happened, but before that, I mean, the game hadn't been updated since June of 2015. Now, what happened late last week, really? The other half of the company, the guy has apparently been locked out of the forums, couldn't get in touch, couldn't post anything. He found a loophole, which is if you post a review, you can't delete reviews on your game. So he posted a review saying that, hey, I've been trying to get this game shipped. The other guy, he hasn't worked on it since June, and he's still taking the money, but he's closed the accounts, and I don't know what to do. I'd like to get back control of the game. Then,
yeah, he wants to release it.
Yeah,
yeah.
But initially, you're reading about this. He's like, the guy the developer, the other guy, the CEO, if you will, created all the art assets and all that, and he's the guy holding, his words, holding the game hostage, was acting like an asshat. And at first, I was like, man, you're being kind of accusatory because the guy who was developing the game, the programmer, just general terms, seemed like a really nice guy. Until Pedro, he started acting like an asshat.
Well, asshat is a euphemism at this point because he went Full Metal Streisand on just about everything. He basically starting a pissing competition between himself and the other developer that posted the review. And all I see from all this is yet another Kickstarter game, which instead of delivering an actual game, just delivers bullshit on both sides and internet soap operas. Now, there's definitely an audience to be had for internet soap operas, no doubt. But I like video games. People gave you, the developers, money to develop a video game. Stop pointing fingers and make the goddamn video game. Or, just go back and delete the entire general discussions forum on Steam. Because that works. Because that's what he did.
Oh, yeah, no, you gotta silence all that discourse. But yeah, no, this is another one of these Kickstarter games that have just gone by the wayside, and it's a bit sad. But you have on one side the artist saying this guy's trying to seize control of the company, he's taking all the money. On the other side, you have the developer now saying, well, it's not done. These guys this guy's trying to release a game so he can recoup some of his losses. There's not really a clear line of evidence supporting one person or the other regarding their claims.
Neither of them are being particularly forthcoming.
Yeah. It's a shitstorm. It's a drama bomb. It's the sort of developer horseshit that, quite frankly, we've come to expect from a lot of these Kickstarter games, right?
Well, Pedro, I guess one thing I should definitely have to ask you is, what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a
Drive a
Mazda 2.
Civic, drive a
but
Civic, drive a Civic.
Enough about
But that's
the car.
completely irrelevant because Feral, the announcement that they announced a couple of weeks ago is the system requirements for Tomb Raider on the Linuxes. Yep. So at minimum, you'll need a PC running Ubuntu 14.04 or SteamOS 2.0 64-bit, an Intel i3 or an AMD FX 6300 with 4 gigs of RAM and a 1 gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce 640 or a 2 gigabyte AMD R7 260X. Now, the original announcement said that you needed a 2 gigabyte 5770. That's still ADI branding right there.
So you see what interested me about this announcement though is they have a little note on there saying, yeah, if you're an AMD user, you should probably be using Mesa 11.2.
Yes!
That's right, folks. Feral has given up on FGLRX, and so should you. And I mean, this would have a nice side effect too, because one of the issues that a lot of game developers have is, hey, there's a bug in this driver, or the driver's not doing something appropriate. Well, now you can submit your patches and actually fix the issue. And it would be a nice, interesting way to improve performance on R600 and Radeon SI and AMD GPU, because the better that open source driver gets, then you guys who are complaining that NVIDIA has sort of captured the Linux gaming market can go buy a Radeon card, and it will work. I do like the extra memory requirement on the AMD cards, though, probably taking account the less than optimal performance of the Mesa drivers.
I don't know.
And they do.
One of the biggest issues I have, I mean, is the soon. Release date. Come on. Just
Spoon.
Just give me that release date, because it makes it definitely, I'm not now, but I remember a very chunk of my life where I was extremely price sensitive, and, maybe once a month I could drop some wet stinky on a game, and that'd be good. This makes it very difficult to, have that money. And it's like, soon, but this other game's out, and I need escapism right now. So I'm going to buy that, and maybe by the time next month rolls around, maybe forgot about it. I don't know. What were you saying, T-Man?
Yeah, it's just that on the recommended system specs, they don't even mention AMD GPUs at all. It's just a 3 gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce 760 with driver version 364.12. So yeah.
The previous batch of Feral games had no support for AMD at all. They said it'll work, use at your own risk. Mm-hmm. So at least
and they're
promising some support just using the open source drivers.
The bash script that actually launched the game had a little conditional to check for FGLRX, and if it found FGLRX, you were going to be running the game in low memory mode.
Yeah, it linked a different malloc shared object. Yep. But it's time to get zippy.
Well, more like drifty. Hoppy Light Drifter. This is something we threw some chairs at, but there's the Beatus patch fixing a bunch of things. Among that, blinking gearbit crates. Finally. But there's a couple of things in there. Fix just little stuff, checkpoints, East Room that was causing blah 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 blah, saving, and they continue to go on. One of the big things that they did manage to fix was something I kind of hated, but I understood why it was there, was the animation speed on your healing, which was always, my rule of chainsaw. I was like, once you're down to 3 health, heal, because you'll get killed to death before you get a chance to heal if you're below 3. Riddle me this, Pedro. I mean, it's good to see small changes like that, but a lot of this is community feedback, and sometimes that's not always the best thing, because it can change what the game is into something that might not be as fun as the original.
Yeah, and I kind of like the fact that, so you use a stim pack and it takes a while for your health to regenerate. That's fine. That's considering where the inspirations of this game came from. Dark Souls, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, more Dark Souls. Yeah, that's how those games do it. The healing items weren't instantaneous. It would take a while for your health to go all the way back up.
You had to run away, find yourself a safe little corner. Otherwise, you would die immediately as you heal. One thing that I found was a little odd was apparently Now they if I understand this correctly, hitting the warp points doesn't reset the medkits anymore. So there's a fixed amount of healing.
They added
in the game.
that. They added a little patch that made it so that when you hit a warp point, it would fill you up on medkits, and it would also respawn all of the medkits on the map. And people were like, yeah, that makes the game too easy. There's absolutely no challenge now. So they reverted to that. And now if you use a warp point, you don't get the health kits refilled. They'll still respawn on the map.
So the ones on the ground will still respawn, but you don't just get the ones in your inventory back.
Yeah.
Okay, that seemed a bit weird. One thing that we're bringing or considering is adding an easy mode, just because the game world is fucking gorgeous, and if you don't get good TM, you're not going to see a lot of it. So that would be an interesting little addition. But just add a note that this is not the way to experience the game. You should be getting your balls stomped in.
Yeah, that's the thing about experiencing the game. There are two things I really want them to fix. One is the inability to rebind the controller mappings, because they still haven't added a chance for players to do that, and the 30 FPS locked engine. Yeah, those are the big
so
two.
Then, you want to do some meth?
No, but let's talk about Speedrunners. Cutthroat multiplayer running game that pits 4 players against each other. It's cross-platform, single player, multiplayer, co-op. Oh, it's lovely. $14.99. What is it? You run around in a race and you make people hate you. It is genuinely very fun. I played this with Frenchie Strider. You might know him from Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. And we did that. And we had a proper good time. Let's take a look at some of the requirements. Does anything fancy? Latest Debian, redistributable SteamOS.
Well, you need to plug your toaster into your PC. That can be
man, I got rid of my video toaster with the Amiga. However, will I run it? But it does.
Well, just hook in your dead badger.
Fine. Controllers work out of the box. Full disclosure, they sent us keys, but we will definitely be throwing some chairs at this. J-Man, this thing does kind of like what a screen sheet does, right?
Yes. One of the nice features about this game is that they support a massive amount of like different configurations for multiplayer. You can have like 3 people on couch, 1 person online, or 2 people on couch, 2 people online, or any combination of that. Screen sheet does this. Games like Towerfall and Megabyte Punch desperately need stuff like this, because if you don't have friends to sit on the couch with you, you can't play the multiplayer. This game actually does require you to play it in multiplayer, though. I was derping around in the single player for a little bit, and the entire time I'm thinking, yeah, I need some people to shit talk. The AI just doesn't cut it. But it does recognize my
really
PlayStation controller as an Xbox,
as it were. But yeah, the Shield controller worked out of the box, so I'm definitely looking forward to the chairs on this one.
Yeah, it thought my PlayStation 4 controller was an Xbox controller, so
it is. Dun dun dun.
So this showed up on Steam. Full disclosure, he also the developer also sent us keys for this one, and we're actually going to be throwing chairs at it this week. Yes, this is Steven's Sausage Roll, and it's been stirring up quite the marketing storm, as it were, on Twitter, because everyone's talking about the price tag. Yeah. On my end, it's 27.99 euros. On Ven's end, it's 29.99 US dollars, and on Jordan's end, it's 32.99 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, it's a spicy sausage, as it were.
Yep, and the only description the game has is a simple 3D puzzle game. That's it.
Oh, we'll get into that in the CHAIRQUISITION. But I mean, Ryan Cheese Grilled On has a point. He posted something on Twitter. Basically says, what was this? Steven Sauce's Roll has the weirdest Steam page. The marketing approach for a $30 game is best summarized as shrug. But I mean, they did make with the keys, and we will get in depth with this fucking game. Let me tell you. This
one little PSA
game.
I'd like to throw out there for the budding Unity developers in the Linux community. And, if you're a budding Unity developer, even if you're not using Linux, and you still manage to find our show on YouTube, and what are you doing watching us this far in? if you don't want to figure out SDL2 and how to integrate it into Unity, do like Stephen Lavelle here did and use Rewired. It's an asset. You can find it on the Unity Asset Store, and it'll take care of every single input you can probably think of. I'm not sure if it's using SDL2 under the hood because it's closed source.
Almost every input did not work again with a Nintendo Power Pad.
I actually tried my Sega Saturn controller, and it recognized that just fine.
All right. But it's time to... Well, you can't build a log cabin in this. I'm hoping this is coming in the DLC. But this is Ice Lakes. It is a game about ice fishing. And based on the reviews, it does that. And it does that pretty well. There's like a dynamic fish AI. And as far as fishing games go, supposedly this is pretty good. I mean, it's available. It's reasonably priced. If you like your Big Bass Pro games or whatever, this might be something you want to pick up. I don't know.
Okay, this is a thing. Ironically, not the first fishing game on Linux. There's another pay-to-win fishing game on the Linux, but extremely realistic, Jordan. So I'm guessing there's a decided lack of raptors in this,
unless they live under the water, right?
Aqua raptors.
I hear there's a bear that might actually chase you as you're going from one fishing hole to the other. I don't know.
I want to see the fucking Yeti from Ski Free show up and rip.
Yeah, that was my first thought. It's like, oh, there's a bear that chases you around. Ski Free.
No, man, you just drill the hole out. You pull it out, and it's like Tim Curry's it. It's like, what's up? We all float down here, son.
Well, oh, poor Tim Curry. But let's talk about sexual organs.
Oh, man.
Yes, because it's really important that you have certain dangly bits dangling out. Otherwise, you can't enjoy your game. Yeah, it's Rust. And they've introduced the female models. So instead of just having penises hanging
their
around...
models are right. Oh, yeah.
Instead of just having your penis hanging out, now you can have your boobs and your vagina hanging out. That's basically it. And it gets sort of randomly assigned. It's actually based on your Steam ID. So it'll take your Steam ID number and it'll do some calculations, and it will determine whether you're white or black, or whether or not you're male or female.
I know you got to remember, even the male models have randomly assigned penis size.
Yes. You can have a black man with a teeny tiny dick or a huge one.
Pedro, that's completely racist, man. Well, I don't get what the hubbub is about this, because Rust, as busted as it is, thanks Gary for personally sending us the keys for a game we'll probably never play.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, it's always been random from the get-go. I mean, this is just a new thing of random. And more importantly, gender doesn't affect gameplay at all. It is just different models.
Listen, Ben.
What?
Some people might have to stare at boobs, and that's just unacceptable.
I don't know. I mean, if you're flipping out because you have to play as a female character, I mean, you need to have a big blinking thing over your physical avatar in the game that just reads, "I needs my penis bob to enjoy the game." I mean,
show title, heyo.
I am a misogynist.
This is totally going to be fun. This is just so much butthurt. People were freaking out with the randomly assigned skin colors, and now the randomly assigned gender. I like the little comment in the article. It's like, well, you know what? For all the women playing, it's kind of shitty that, they can only play as a dude. So spread the love. And spread it all
this
over.
Actually started last year because they made the announcement that they were going to be randomly assigning genders to different players. And this isn't final, as it were, because there's still going to be a hell of a lot more improvements coming to the player models. So chances are, if you're stuck, quote unquote, as a female character now, it might change later on. But a while back, last year, July 17th, a day after my birthday, they actually went on Gamasutra and posted up a teeny tiny article that said, yeah, it's going to be randomly assigned genders. And if you think that if you're feeling like your faith in mankind has been increasing lately, you may want to go read the comments on that article.
Oh yeah. There's some shitty people here. So are we going to do Patreon now?
Yeah, because speaking of models, we need to talk about model citizens.
Oh, yes, that's right. Our lovely, lovely donors who are financially irresponsible enough to give us money week after week after week. We're talking about those horrible clowns who exist at linuxgamecast.com/support the shows. And we got a lovely out-of-date image of our Patreon page that desperately needs to be updated. We got some wonderful Amazon affiliate links that you can just click on and give us money with just by buying stuff on Amazon. I ordered shit on Amazon today or this week. And immediately after I hit buy, I realized, shit, I should have used the Amazon affiliate link because that's just free money that I am denying myself. Go Jordan, you smart human being. We also got some PayPal buttons for a recurring donation of $3.50 a month, or $1 a month, or a custom amount. But the best way to continue your support is to hike on over to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Holy shit, we're at $142 a month. We got some lovely new
almost
people.
There. Almost to the stands.
Mr. Mango upped his donation, and Craig is giving us some green. So good on them for that. We're
wait, you mean
$58 away.
Wait. Jesus' brother kicked in our Patreon?
Christ. Yeah. We're $58 away from forcing me to play Serious Sam 3, that game that I despise. If you want to see me stab myself in the head a lot more, you should try and get us to that donation.
But I think there's a couple of things with Patreon, because as soon as it gives we're going to give you some things back, Brad. Most importantly, starting at $2.50, you're going to get access to our show notes, which effectively start Monday morning, and you get to see the sausage as it's getting made, as we're having our in-fight arguments, and you can sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy that, because it gets a bit heated in there from time to time.
Let's just play some Portal. Or some
on top of that, yeah. So, I mean, at minimum, you're going to get a 1-week exclusive to all the video game series we play. We do the Trine 3s, we do the Portal 2s, we do the Left 4 Brads. Minimum 1-week exclusive for that, and there's not going to be the ads on the YouTube videos during that time, so it's just kick in, watch, sit back, and relax, because if you're helping us out, keeping us independent, keeping us live, doing this, and spreading the gospel of Linux gaming, you deserve
and the chairs.
Yes.
But coming up next, we got a bunch of driver news, and Unity can't figure out how to SDL, or won't.
It's time for some good old regular Linuxy news. And in true LGC tradition, we start off with some drivers. NVIDIA just released the non-beta 364.19 version, which is the first non-beta driver with Vulkan support. Now, it only supports Vulkan 1.0 because this is basically a roundup of all the latest betas, except for that latest Vulkan branch one, which actually has Vulkan 1.08, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, this is... If you... Wait.
I thought it was 1.1, but whatever.
1.08 was
Vulkan
the
spec 1.1.
Yeah. But yeah, they actually if you've been running the latest betas, you already have all of this. They just fixed a couple of extra stuff with EGL. So chances are you're probably not running Wayland at this point. So you don't really care about that.
Well, if you installed the latest Ubuntu, you're getting Mirror, right, guys?
Nope. They're not.
Mirror's the future, down with Wayland, burn the heretic. Pedro, I guess what I'm asking, I'm like 2 versions behind. With the beta sourcing that NVIDIA, should I bother upgrading, or can I just like be like the Fonz and like be cool right now?
Grab the latest beta.
You can actually be cool right now. There's really nothing to be had unless you have like a G-Sync monitor or you're actually trying to run Wayland. So yeah.
Or if you want the GL vendor neutral stuff that wasn't in the 355.
Right. Yeah.
But speaking of drivers, we recently covered that Radeon SI got OpenGL 4.2, and they were one extension away from 4.3. They got it now. So if you build the latest version of Mesa and you got a Radeon SI card, so that's a desktop 7000 series or greater. You have OpenGL 4.3 support, which means You can run most Feral games, and actually, you can run every single game on Steam now, including a bunch of wine ones with DirectX 3 or with DirectX 9. It's fantastic.
Yeah. If you have an APU with the 7000 series GPU built in, you're still on. Yeah, you're still on R600, and my netbook is still on R600. Yeah. Even the calculator is still on R600.
We talked about this a little bit earlier too. This is probably right in time for Tomb Raider. Well, if that ever comes out. But up next, it's another invocation of XKCD 927. Unity has decided, in their infinite wisdom, that instead of using that MIT licensed wonderful miracle drug called SDL2, or even making an input system that uses their config, they've gone off and made their new one. They're making their own one. And I took some time earlier this week and I read through the comments here. Not anyone here is saying, why aren't you using SDL2? Just let me clue you in on something, Brad. You know that big engine that everyone's raving about that's like free. It's called Unreal Engine 4. That's using SDL2 because those devs realized, hey, it works on fucking everything. You want your export to Android? You want your export to iOS? SDL2 gotcha.
Well, you don't have to worry about it now because for the low price of 45 wet, stinky caches, Pedro,
you can actually get rewired. Yeah. But we've already covered this in Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. You should totally watch that.
What is that?
It's
I
kind
never
of
heard
awesome.
of it.
Yeah, it's that show that we do midweek with all the roundup of all the not so gaming related news, although we do push in some of the gaming stuff, including this particular Unity story. But they have literally gone out of their way to recreate SDL2 instead of just, integrating it properly. Why?
It's going to work just as well, too. It's going to work exactly the same, you guys. It's going to be feature-to-feature parity with no issues whatsoever. None. Zero. Zip. I dare you. A double dog dare you.
Since this particular show is actually called LinuxGameCast, and we're talking about non-steamy news, Ludum Dare 35 actually happened a couple of weeks ago. If you followed Sophie Holden on Twitter, she was going apeshit because it's like, oh yeah, I have like 3 hours to finish my game for Ludum Dare, but I also have like 90 minutes left on this particular season of whatever show she was watching at the time. So I'm gonna watch that first and then finish the game.
Well, I mean, you're saying Sophie going batshit on Twitter. That's her Twitter account 90% of the time.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, the theme this time around was shapeshift, and people. I think people actually took some liberty with the theme because judging by some of their entries, it's kind of all over the place. But Jordan actually brought up a very good point on the show notes. Yeah, is if you go to the list and you sort by Linux, there's only like 177
there's not
games.
A lot, and considering a lot of these are like JavaScript based games or Unity or or Game Maker. Or just any number of like the free tools that a lot of starting game jam people use. It's a bit sad that no one bothered to click export. There's like, at last check, there was like 7 pages of Linux supported games. Let's
there's
see.
177 Linux games
establishing a database connection. Is their site down? Yeah. I'm getting a database error.
We brought it down. Sorry, LGC cares.
it's the LGC hug of death. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Borderlands 3 is going to be Gearbox's next game after they finish their current one called Battleborn. And this time it's a 3D platformer where you can't adjust depth perception. I'm just kidding. Death Procession. We've already used that as a show title. That doesn't count anymore. You lazy fucking chat realm people. Anyways, this isn't really much of anything. This is basically an announcement for an announcement. We will start working on Borderlands 3 once we're done. When can we expect to see the game? No idea. What's it going to be about? No clue.
Hey man, I bet Gearbox 2K Australia is wait, no.
No, they closed that one down.
Okay.
hopefully they will get Aspire to make with the port for Borderlands 3 because these guys fucking know what they're doing.
Think about this though. Maybe it'll actually be on Unreal Engine 4. Huh?
They're still going to outsource the port to fucking virtual programming because fuck.
Well, I am kind of worried because this time around we don't have Randy Pritchford saying that Borderlands 2 is not coming to Linux. We have looked at things and we have realized that it's just not worth it. And 2 months later, oh yeah, the Linux version Aspire is doing it. So, Randy, what's up with that? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, so you were talking out of your ass, is what you're saying. Right.
Yeah, argue with that invisible person. But up next, Ben, do you wanna tap dance on your desk a little bit?
Well, maybe I want to think about direction and wonder why. Because Leon Lee's adjustable motorized standing desk is also a case of doom and nightmare fuel. That's right. Because, well, if you're watching at home on the videos, if you're listening on MP3s, let me describe this to you. There's a large chunk of tempered glass which can only support up to 220 pounds. That's about 99 kilos for the rest of the entire world. It is an adjustable desk. You can build your gaming rig inside of it. But I think, Jordan, you'll agree with me. When you think about 99 kilos, we're both large individuals. I can instantly math my way through pounds per square inch right through that desk.
Oh yeah, delicious, nutritious glass shards all in your arms and on your chest and shoulders. It's delicious.
Well, to be honest, 220 pounds could hold me with about 20 pounds to spare.
Oh, Pedro, we could beat you senseless over that desk. You don't weigh enough.
Yeah.
I weigh 196 pounds or 89 kilograms if you're in the EU. But yeah, I would probably not use this. I would probably not use this desk as a standing desk, but I kind of do want one of these types of things where you can actually build your PC
It's got the UBS 3.0. It's in the front, RGB controller, HD audio.
It looks very, very good, and I kind of want one of those, but I don't want to spend more on the desk itself than the actual innards of my PC.
It's only $1,500. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I spent 900 euros on just the innards of my PC. That desk
I paid $100 for this IKEA desk like 4 years ago, and I've not had to replace it.
Well, that was like kind of to my point. I mean, one of the things that I brought up is like right over and Char in this direction. I mean, it's made out of particle board, but it's the fancy particle board. I think I paid like 80 quid for it. It's like a 4-drawer, like 1 meter, per drawer, and all that thing. Not even a slip and trip. It was a bit of a stumble because I had too many damn nightmare cables in here. And I just went, whoa, and caught myself on it. Smashed right through the top of it.
It's like watching people break boards at karate class. But upon looking at this, I see one fatal flaw with this setup. Upgrading your PC means that you have to clear off all the shit on top of your desk. I mean, with the regular tower, I just pull it out giggity from under my desk. I do my work and I stick it back in. Giggity.
No. What you do is you install it, then you get another desk next to it, and that's where
right. That's where you put all your shit. That's true, right? I just buy if I need to upgrade, I just buy a new desk and build a new computer in that. It's just like the Apple strategy, except this time I get a free desk. But
yeah, basically. And then again, if you're paying $1,500 for a desk, you probably have the money to spend. Just saying.
We're paying $1,500 for a desk. You probably want to pick up one of these. That's right, the fastest switch in the West, Corsair, and Cherry Real the fastest. Cherry MX Speed Switch, giggity. Because rainbows, bitches. That's real. 169.99 for a mothering keyboard. Apparently these switches, if you press them down just like slightly more than a millimeter, you will be able to type disparaging remarks about your opponent's mother faster than ever before with these new switches. It's not a split keyboard, so I immediately don't want it. And it has a Seizuretron 9000 RGBs behind it. And outside of like playing the He-Man Hey Yay Yay song and having some lighting effects in the room, I don't see the point.
Yeah, you see, I have a non-split keyboard
you can
either.
get quality mechanical keyboards for less. You can get like a Philco, which is like probably one of the best manufactured mechanical keyboards of this variety, for like $130. That's $30 less, and the build quality. Well, I mean, Corsair keyboards are fairly good build quality, but this is a wee bit exorbitant. Plus, you can pay $350. Get one of those brand new buckling spring Model M models that has this has like
you know
USB
what?
3.0
This
hub
keyboard
in it.
actually, as someone who changes keyboards every now and again, it looks pretty good. I don't much care for the RGBs as long as it has backlighting. I don't really care what color it is. But even the lowest end costs $130 without RGB.
$129 for the K70 rapid fire, all caps.
Yeah, it's a rapid fire. It's basically turning mechanical Cherry MX switches into chiclet keyboards, where you just slightly tap on the keys and ooh, there's a character on screen. That's it. But yeah, it does look good, but not $130 good.
It needs more swag.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely got the YOLO swag, but I mean, multiple reasons I like split keyboards. The main reason, there's more room for the clown hands I have. Unfortunately, I don't have Donald Trump syndrome. So, and just typing like that now, like, hurts my wrist. That's just the thing.
Well, you need like the Donald Trump syndrome if you're going to make the best words. But coming up next, we talk about the difficulties of handling one's sausage. Handling your sausage is always tricky business. We at LinuxGameCast are experts on that, but even we were stumped by Steven's Sausage Roll. Developed by Increpare, aka Stephen Lavelle, on the Unity engine. It is, well, the price is a bit questionable, but we'll get to that at the end of this. We're going to see if it's really worth that 30-odd regional currency. And what is it? Well, it's a simple 3D puzzle game. And Stephen himself actually sent us some keys and called us witches because he felt that we forced him to do so. It may have had something to do with the cauldron we were all surrounding, but I doubt it. So let's kick off the chair position. Double, toil and trouble. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that's something wicked. This way it comes. We also got our categories of doom. Makes it working, shiny and sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Then, how did this sausage roll on your system?
It did absolutely make with the Rolling Brothers thing. On the Ubuntu 1404 LTS, 8150 AMD powered 980 NVIDIA powered, also displayed ultimately at 4K resolution, almost kind of UHD if we're going to be honest with it. But how did it run? Well, it holds a steady 60 frames at 1080 and 2160, aka UHD. It's not really 4K. Even manages to revert back to 1080 after switching to 2160 and back. Good job. I like that. That is a bonus soda right there. However, when you're using the keyboard, it does not disable the rumble on the Xclone controller. And keep in mind, I'm not a clever man. So when I was using the keyboard on the menu, I was hearing enter, and I was like, checking. I was like, the fuck all was that? Back, hit enter. I was like, this is only happening when I hit enter. What moon magic is this? However, fortunately, I put 2 and 13 together, and I was like, oh, it doesn't disable that in the menu. It is disabled in the game because I did set the controller up on, the wooden desk I have here. And I was like, I really want to see this thing go mental when I get into a stage, and it didn't. A little disappointed in that. That said, since it disables it in-game and not in the menu, I'm going to call that a bug and not a feature. I'll give it 3 chairs out of the box.
Well, on the Fedora 22 powered 64-bit Intel i7 6700K with the NVIDIA GTX 980 powering the UHD monitor because Ben's all pissy about that. Yeah, no, I ran it at 4K the entire time, did not drop below 60. So, I mean, given what we're seeing on the screen, that's not really saying much, but credit where credit is due. I'll give it 4 cheers.
Yeah, on my end, I played most of it on the Steam box, and I have absolutely no complaints. The frame rate didn't really dip to any degree that I could notice, which is especially relevant since on the Steam box, I'm running SteamOS 2.68, and it has an Athlon X4860K overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and a GTX 750 Ti with 8 gigs of RAM. Nowadays, that's basically the minimum of what you'd call a gaming machine, and it did not dip once that I could see, so 4 chairs.
All right, that's 3 chairs for Mix with the working. Up next, the Shiny and Sans. Then, how crisp was the sausage?
Well, Brad, it's not Hipster Pixel. Nay, in fact, it's Hipster Minecraft. Basically the same thing as Hipster Pixel, but with a decidedly more amount of 3 dimensions. This can make figuring out a path, you know, with the textures and all that in your overworld just a bit challenging. But compared to the game itself, that's just easy sauce. It's going to be the least of your concerns. The sound effects, the background music, they exist, but they grow a bit hella repetitive with the quickness. And normally I would say it's a puzzle game. Just put on some Slayer. But unless you want to go fully postal, stick with something like Enya when you're playing this game to keep you a bit relaxed. Does what it says on the tin. Looks like it is supposed to. I mean, Minecrafty-ish 3D overhead top-down view. Can't fault it for that because that's the art style it chose and it stuck with it. But, you know, I kind of wish there was some more Enya, like Zen shit right there with the puzzle solving because I could have really used it. But I'm going to give that another 3.
See, I'm of an opposite opinion. If they started blasting some Enya, I think I would have gone postal faster, but, you know, that's just me. I look at this game and I think, low-res sausage. Because really, that's what there is. Yeah, you got the little Minecraft grass blocks, and you got the sausage, and you got the grill, and you got the water. There's not much going on here. I didn't even notice there was a soundtrack because I was staring too intently at this fucking sausage trying to get it cooked. Yeah, it works. That's really all I can say about it, so it gets the 2 chairs.
Yeah, there's really not much else I can say about it either. It's programmer art paired with elevator music. It's functional, completely inoffensive, but also nothing to write home about. As far as aesthetics go, it's functional, but completely unremarkable. So it gets 2 chairs.
I'd say if you're asking for HD graphics in your sausage game, probably barking up the wrong tree there, Brad. That's 2 chairs for Shiny and
kind of porn.
Up next is Control. Then, did you handle your sausage well?
My sausage rumbles with a mighty fierceness. It does rumble right out of the box, and it's always surprising when the X-Clone rumbles. Usually only Ethan Lee can pull that off with like, ooh, yeah, all right, I forget that thing's in there. The X-Clone, speaking of that, worked out of the box, and that's probably the best way to play this critter. And really, that's a good thing, since you want to be as far away from anything expensive as possible. And P-Man's going to talk about some of the control things and the options, but I did read that this was initially developed on a MacBook, and I think that kind of shows with everything on Linux working out of the box. A little bit extra sauce was used in that, but I think it was used to good effect. You probably don't want to play this with a keyboard, just because you're too close to a monitor and that's too easy to punch. But with a controller, 100%, I'm going to give it the 4.
LCD,
yeah, it didn't even dawn on
pretty
me
satisfying.
It didn't even really dawn on me that this thing had controller support. I was playing it with a keyboard for about an hour before I realized I haven't really solved. I was still stuck on that one puzzle. But this game will do that to you for sure. I mean, movement does take a little bit of getting used to. They have the weird turning mechanic, but it makes sense given like the rules of the game, the rules of the puzzle solving. Everything worked, and yeah, like Ben said, the PlayStation 4 controller I tested with rumbled. So props for that. 4 chairs.
Yeah. like I mentioned in the Steam segment in the main show, if you're not watching that, shame on you. This game doesn't use the default Unity input handler. It uses Rewired, which is a $45 asset that you can buy from the Unity Asset Store, and it will take care of input for just about every single platform ever. I'm talking my NVIDIA Shield controller worked out of the box. My Logitech F310 that's currently plugged into the Steam box worked out of the box. My Sega Saturn controller that I bought a cheap Chinese adapter for USB works out of the box. I don't know exactly how it's doing it, since it's not open source, but it does it very competently. And the CHAIRQUISITION is nothing if not a meritocracy. So 4 chairs.
Yeah, that's 4 chairs for controls. And finally, Ven, did you have fun playing with your sausage?
A subjective category, if there ever was one. Ah, yes, as it's known as the Dark Souls of puzzle games. And yes, admittedly, my brain did go, ouch. Then I threatened to stab it with a Q-tip, so it shut up for a moment. However, releasing a game with only word-of-mouth marketing and a 30 wet stinky price tag is a bold strategy, Cotton. Granted, the price, along with a vague-ass description, got people talking about the game. Case in point. Hell, I mean, if it was $9.99, we probably wouldn't just completely pass it off as another puzzle game. Unfortunately, Brad, that's exactly what Steven Sausage Roll is. It's another puzzle game. At least, that's what my initial 80 minutes of gameplay has led me to believe. Not to say this isn't a brilliant puzzle game, because it is. It's well thought out. It is just nightmare fuel incarnate. The developer hates people, and I love it. That makes me happy. That makes the chairs happy. That is everything we stand for. And it gives you that immense sense of accomplishment for each sausage you collect. Giggity. I just said that in a review, and I love it. Hell, you know, for all I know, Steven Sausage Roll could actually go Full Metal Frog Fractions at some point. But I don't think I'll ever find out. And if you don't know how mental Frog Fraction goes from what you initially start out with to where it ends, do yourself a favor and look it up and play it. But that is kind of the problem. Because 80 minutes in, I have a total of, this is how smart Vin is, 3 sausages. And Jordan will attest, he's seen how I've played this game throughout the week. It's start the game, 5 minutes. All right, Alt F4, go take break, get away from things you can break, come back, play another 5-10 minutes. It's like, no, but it kept me coming back. And that's why I'm not going to give it 1 chair, even though it is a well-done puzzle platformer game. Well, platformer game.
No platforming.
Well, there
no
is. There's
here.
ladders. You can come up. Technicality, even though you're correct. Well-done puzzle game. I enjoyed it, but I kind of got the feeling that the price is more of a gimmick in versus, you know, what it actually should be set at. And I'm definitely one of those people who agree that a lot of indie titles are underpriced. Just because, well, that's just what the market will bear. And it's like, yeah, this is one of the cases where I think it's overpriced. I'm not going to give it 1 chair because it did. Like I said, it kept me coming back, and that takes quite a lot. So you're going to get 2 chairs.
Fuck, this game is hard. And I'm awful at these fucking spatial reasoning puzzles. I literally played for like a good hour before I broke down and cheated on my first puzzle. Found the solution. I'm like, okay, this is the mode of thinking I actually need to be in order to solve this puzzle. And I solved another 6 puzzles on my own, collecting I think it was 16 sausages or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm 1 behind Pedro, which kind of pissed me off. I wasn't able to collect that last sausage to at least tie him. Pedro has walked away as the sausage master this time around. But
sausage commander.
Like, yeah, the sausage
I
master.
am the sausage commander.
So like I'm sitting here playing this game, and roommate walks in and he's like, "What the fuck is this game?" It's Steven Sausage Roll, and he's like, "Oh, you're dumb. Let me try this." And then he spends half an hour staring at it. And he manages to get all the sausages cooked, but that's not enough, because you need to cook all the sausages and make it back to your starting point without overcooking them. Otherwise, you lose. And that's a real fast way to fuck yourself over and have to restart the puzzle. I mean, the rules are very simple. You can move the sausage only a certain number of... you can move it over the grill only 2 times or only once on like per uncooked side. And you can cook half sides, so there's some wiggle room there. But holy shit, there is some depth, and you will like you will be staring at these puzzles for the better part of like 30, 40 minutes, just racking your brain trying to figure out a way to solve it. Is this game worth $35? We're gonna get to that a little bit more in depth at the final thoughts section. But yeah, but in short, if you're into puzzle games, this will certainly give you a run for your money. I'll give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that you sit down on a couch with just to exercise nothing but your neurons. Careful though, you might tie a knot in your gray matter, because it happened to me a couple of times. This is the epitome of a game that focuses on mechanics. And I keep bringing up like mechanics and story in the fun section, so I might as well explain. The way I see it, at their core, video games can be divided into aesthetics, that's sound and graphics, narrative, which is divided between the story that the devs built into the game and the narrative your character plays through due to your own actions as a player, and mechanics, which is how you interact with the game. Like I've mentioned before, mechanics, in my opinion, rule supreme. In fact, if a game has its narrative and aesthetics developed around the mechanics, it's bound to be a game I'll enjoy very much. Take your Half-Life 2s, your Dark Souls, your Silent Hill 2s, so on and so forth. Steven Sausage Roll is almost utopian as a video game. The aesthetics are simple. It's programmer art and developer music, as I've already mentioned. It's about as non-aesthetic as you can get. The only narrative to be had is the one that you, the player, create for yourself, which is, well, it's whatever you come up with. Why is this character so obsessed with making sure all these sausages are evenly cooked? The only thing this game has any complexity to is in how the mechanics allow you to progress through the game. You may make the argument that without even a semblance of story, you don't have motivation to keep progressing through the game. And to you, I say there's a shit ton of people playing Minecraft right now. And seeing as I like mechanics over everything else in games, 3 chairs. It doesn't get 4 because it tends to burn me out along with the sausages you're pushing and rolling in game. So yeah.
Well, you know what they say: cut off 1 sausage and 2 sausages will take its place. All right, so that's 2 chairs for fun, and that tallies up to a 2-chair game for Steven's Sausage Roll. Gentlemen, final thoughts. I guess I'll start this one off. Is this game worth $30? Well, honestly, I can't give you a straight answer to that. I honestly don't know. If you like puzzle games and you're into really, really challenging puzzles, then I can totally see someone paying $35 and getting their $35 worth of enjoyment out of this game. That is totally a thing that can happen. For people who are not into it, not so much. You're going to be staring at a screen. You're going to be staring at your sausage for the better part of an hour, just kind of playing with it. And I can do that without sitting in front of a computer. Although where's the fun in that, if you think about it?
Yeah, 28 euros is a hard sell. I can see why The Witness got as good as a reception as it did, regardless of the $40 price tag. There are a lot of people like me out there, and if Jonathan Blow ever decides to stop being a douche and make a Linux port of The Witness, I'll be very glad to play that. But that's just as I was glad to see such a simple concept of a game hook me for hours of failure after failure. Steven Sausage Roll is a damn good puzzle game, but that's all it is. Is that worth $30 to you?
I don't know. I mean, for me, this game suffers what I like to call the solar-powered laptop during a zombie apocalypse scenario. Under that scenario, I would gladly shell out 30 wet stinky cashes for it, because I probably would never beat it before I was eaten to death, and that would be a good thing. However, no zombies. So we get a little bit of a problem with paying 30 what stinky cashes for that.
Well,
now,
I mean, what if it's the sausage apocalypse?
Think of it, that'd just be hot, Brad. All right.
Giggity.
I'm just saying. I mean, you think developer was good enough to send us keys, even though he called us witches. But then again, Square Enix sends us keys. Feral sends us keys, and everybody else, and they don't call us witches. But we're not. We actually want to put your quote on a T-shirt, so we like you more for that. You get bonus points for that. What the game is, if that's all there is to the game. And, I was reading through the discussions on, the Steam forums discussion group. And I was like, you got a good sense of humor about it. You know what it is. And a couple of people who have reviewed it got to say what we said. I mean, it's not impossible. It's a brilliantly done game. It will make you say cussy things and have a good time with it. I mean, we've not really legitimately knocked the game at any point. The only thing we have in that Steam discussion group, there is a sub forum just for the price about it. Which again,
you totally missed a knocking your sausage joke, by the way, or knackwurst.
Got anything else you want me to finish this?
I'm done. Go.
I mean, are you sure?
I'm good. Go.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got it out of your system. Dumbass.
Knackwurst.
At the end of the day, hey man, you did it for whatever reason. Little description, stupidly fun game, ridiculously overpriced, and I look forward for everyone else picking it up in a humble bundle.
Indeed. Okay, I think I may have broke Pedro with that last one. So coming up next, we got some hate mail, and we got a new hate mail rendering engine thanks to our good pal Empty. We'll talk about that a little more after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yeah, you know what time it is. It's hate mail time, but a very special thank you this week to Chat Realm and occasional guest host on LGC Weekly, Mr. Mike Tehan, aka MT,
the guy who does everything
not the
on
real
the back
leprechaun
end.
on Twitter.
Well, he's also known as the guys you got to be careful when you say maybe this would be a good idea because he's like, bam, grant wishes.
Yeah, done. Because a while back, we've been, in case you haven't been paying attention, we've been using Slaxy to present our hate mail to you. And Slaxy lately has been having some issues, to say the least. So Ven kind of posted a challenge in Chat Realm Static saying, hey, we need a replacement. Anyone up for it? And Empty was just like, here, let's call it Bradley. And here we have it. It's Bradley. We can read your hate mail right from it. And this week, Viper29 had something to say about the Saints Row. I have Saints Row 2 and 3, and the second one's performance, that's a complicated turn of sentence right there, is utter garbage. I was like, why the hell did I even release it like this? Virtual programming. What did you expect?
Hey, man.
Because cheap.
Because cheap. I mean, sorry. I mean, we'd love to get someone from Eon Virtual Programming. Contact us if we're wrong, but current thing is like, that's if you get your game ported by the lowest bidder. We don't even need source code, right?
And people are actually saying you get literally twice the performance from using Wine 9. That's Wine compiled with the Direct3D 9 state tracker. If you're using the Gallium drivers on an AMD GPU, you get twice the performance than with Eon.
Well, I'm actually genuinely surprised that it works with Eon. Another thing, when we're talking about Wime, yes. When we are talking about Wime, Frenchie Strider, he posted, because we will eventually be doing the Tomb Raiders, he has a full bench in Wine currently that we will be adding to when we get the native version and also running it in Wine. in chat room, static at linuxgamecast.com.
Strider went in depth too. He got wine with CSMT, vanilla wine, and Windows, and 2 benches on Windows 10. But yeah, I mean, again, people go to Eon because it's probably cheap, and that's really it. Coming up next, this is from Manny Red, and he's talking about Monopoly, and he says, "Hey, Van, I think I found a way to play some Monopoly for the after shows." And I was chatting with one of the devs of FCEU, which is the NES emulator, and he recommends Mednafen as an emulator with NetPlay. I know for a fact that Gauntlet and Monopoly for the NES are 4-player games. Yeah, we were talking a while about some other games we can play in the after show that would take 90 billion hours. Monopoly came up, but I don't think me or MT could be in the same Monopoly game because we both know the secret to winning Monopoly 100% of the time. But I mean, it's definitely a thing we can consider because you only really needed one controller for Monopoly on the NES, I believe.
No, I mean, I think it's a brilliant thing. This message, I do want to throw a little disclaimer in, came in via Steam Messenger.
Don't do that.
No. Did it properly. It's very risky business, but did it properly because immediately after I think I rage quit out of a particular game, then I received the message. It wasn't during. Mm-hmm. You do that, probably never going to get a response. Even if you do message me, that always falls default to background, so I normally only see it when I power off the box. So you might not get a reply, but that is a good suggestion. Yes, we have talked about it. Pedro, maybe we'll look into it.
We have what?
I was going to say, doesn't one of us need to buy like the NES cartridge for Monopoly so that we could legally emulate it, quote unquote?
Well, as far as Nintendo is concerned, it's always illegal.
And they'd probably just pull our Twitch stream down anyway or monetize.
Yep.
All right, last tape note for the night.
Let me take this one. It's Doom. Doom 3 Redux works pretty great. I just plopped in the mod files, and this is that thing we were talking about last week, the graphical overhaul, since we're not getting Doom natively on Linux anymore because Bethesda, #ZeniMax, in my Lutris install, go Strider and launch the mod from the main menu. It took some console finagling to get the sound working properly, but so far, so good. And this comes from Blue Borum.
Broham, like the writers of Broham.
The only thing you really need for sound, if you didn't compile it from source, that is, like I did, and you didn't because you're using Lutris, is SDL Mixer. That's literally all it needs. But yeah, Doom 3 Redux works pretty damn good with Doom 3. I had Doom 3 already built, and basically all I did was...
earlier this week, didn't you?
Yep, I posted a screenshot on the G+. All I did was take the files, post them in the .config/Doom3 data folder, replaced all the files that needed replacing, and it just worked. That's literally all it takes. Now, keep in mind that your save games will not be compatible. Say if you started a game with just regular Doom 3, if you plop in the Redux, you're going to have to start from the beginning, but that's kind of to be expected.
I'm sure Strider also loves getting all these Lutris bug reports through LinuxGameCast because you're like, use the bug tracker, god damn it. Instead, he has to go to our show notes. And on that bombshell,
let's cue the music because you can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Moon Time. Doing this Nightmare Fuel with your help, with your support. Patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Kick us a few shekels if you like this business. If you don't, tell somebody about it. Confuse and anger them. That'll be fun. But I'm at Vinstone on the Twitternets, plus Vinstone on the G+. If you want to scream in my direction, I will do my best to scream back in yours.
I'm Jordan Svung, and I'm definitely playing with my sausage at the Burning Pool on Twitter, plus Jordan Svung on the Google+.
Yes, it's one thing you definitely want to do is tell people about your knackwurst. I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted4 on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
So I guess at the end of the day, all we have to ask ourselves is, Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Bradley, would you like some sausage?
Or knackwurst?
Yes, give me my neck first. I want it. Put it in my mouth.
This is like Oculus bike riding for Pedro. That's his equivalent of it. Backwards.
Where they just threw sausages in your face.
Look,
Yeah, you try to ride a sausage with an Oculus ripped on in the middle of the woods.
And build a log cabin.
5 dudes.